It won't. Hello. My name is Mary MacDonald, and I am a para-athlete. But yeah, welcome on in. And yeah, so some fun things about me is that I am a para-athlete. I use a push-room wheelchair to race, which is amazing. And I have 13 days until one of the biggest races of my life, which is going to be my 13 miler, which will be in Las Vegas, Nevada. And a lot of people ask me, what is the big reason that you're doing this race? And to them, I say that it's because I really just want to improve myself and become better. So basically, that really is amazing. But yeah, I don't think. Is anyone on yet? I don't think so. I am a 16-year-old racer and adaptive athlete. I go under the name of Mary No Limits, which is, you can find me on most social medias under that. MaryNoLimits.com is my website where you can find everything about me, including my shop, which has merchandise and things like that, which is amazing. And I have like 13 fun facts that I'm going to share. So, first off, I'm a 16-year-old wheelchair racer. Like I said, I'm an adaptive athlete competing in road racing, track, and strength sports like powerlifting, shot put, discus, things like that. Anything that requires strength, I'm willing to do. So that's one of my favorite things. And then I do I race under my banner, Mary No Limits Racing, and I share my own point of views, my training sessions, and my behind the scenes content of what it's like to be a wheelchair racer. Because behind all the work and effort that goes in that you see of me winning races, you have to get into the nitty gritty, including things like my training courses, my general day to day life. Because as a wheelchair user, every little thing I do impacts my sports, to be honest with you. And that's the one thing. It just impacts it the most. So, all right. And I won in my division at the Carson Beach Shoreline 5K in South Boston, which was amazing. I was very happy that I had my Insta 360 on me because that is what I use to capture most of my 360-degree point videos. Those are super cool. Definitely recommend to check them out. Some of them you can actually use on VR, which is even crazier. I personally don't have a VR, but I think that would be really awesome. And then let's see. I do also have multiple other races you can definitely check out. Most of them are pretty cool. I think my favorite has to be Falmouth. That was such an honor to compete in. That was the 50th anniversary of that race, and I got to meet a lot of amazing athletes that I didn't ever expect to meet, like Tatiana McFadden, who is one of the greatest wheelchair racers in the world, in my opinion. And that the honor of meeting her was just wonderful. I never thought I'd be able to meet her, and I was just so shocked when I met her in person. So that was great. And I actually captured that in a 360 view for a good portion of that race, or I think the whole thing actually. So if you want to go check that out, definitely do, because if you're looking for a way to get the course layout before you actually race and see if it's for you, it helps so much. And as a wheelchair racer, I kind of wish I knew a bit more about how the course was, due to the fact that there is a big amount of hills. So if you are a wheelchair racer, the amount of hills is a bit difficult, but it's an amazing race, and I totally suggest it. The amount of wheelchair users that are at that race is just amazing. I think it's the most I've seen in my whole entire racing career. So yeah, and then I race with Achilles International, which is basically a group for people who are physically impaired or have sight impairments and things like that. I am physically impaired. I use a wheelchair. My disability is called arthrogryposis multiplex congenita, and it is basically a myoplasia where I have muscle tightening in my legs along with no quadricep muscles, meaning that I can't use my legs like a regular person would, but I still have pretty good upper body strength, even though I still do have the myoplegia. And basically, with Achilles, what I do is I race for them on road races, and they give me a guide so that I'm not all alone when racing, because there's cars out there when there's an open road course, and cars are quite scary when you're like this tall and cars are like this tall. There's really, I don't think there's like a safe way to do a open road course without a guide. So I'm always thankful for Achilles for providing me one when I need one. My dad recently has become a guide, which is very wonderful because he's able to be a part of the Achilles community and just help me out with that, which is super awesome. And yeah, I think I've done a lot with Achilles. We had a run, like a runway thing, which was wonderful. It was basically a runway show that we had to show that people with disabilities can also be models. And from that, I branched off and went into humankind casting, where I am now a full model. And I've done multiple brands like Zipper Buddy. I've done stuff just for humankind in general. I did a sports photo shoot, which hopefully is coming out very soon. I think I do have a behind the scenes video posted already on my YouTube if you're interested. But yeah, I'm hoping to do modeling just in my lifetime, trying to be a good influencer and a good model when I grow up. That's kind of something I'm always interested in. Now, also, one of my biggest feats is probably my national medals. I think I have around 16 national gold medals, or 16 medals in general, which is quite the accomplishment. I do have a powerlifting record in my weight class where I lifted 110 pounds, which was very nice. And then I also have the girls' javelin record in my classification, which is amazing. I forgot for field, an F50, 54. I am an F54 in field and a T53 in track. The T53 is due to the fact that my upper extremities, including my shoulders, are a bit tighter, and my bones and my shoulders are actually fused together. So it's a lot more difficult for me to reach the bottom of my ring of my racing chair, which can lead to some slight complication when racing with racers who are T54s. So yeah, that's a very interesting thing. And I was in the DAV 5K, which is the Disabled American Veterans 5K, and it was at Castle Island, which, by the way, is a beautiful, wonderful, track. It's very complex. For technically, it's very complex. Like steering is quite difficult, but it is a pretty flat course. I'd recommend it for people who kind of want to take not an easy day, but someone who would want to be able to learn how to steer more. I think it's an amazing race to go check out during that. Also, just generally, it's a great race. And basically, it supported veterans from all over. It was for Veterans Day weekend, and it supported injured and ill veterans. So I'm very happy about that. Getting to race and support a great cause has always made me happy. Getting to do two things I love together is just the best thing ever. Now, I race in unified and pair events across Massachusetts, and I also raced the Unified 5K in Lancaster, MA, which actually is a part of a podcast I did. I was on a podcast that one of the person who oversees the Unified 5K invited me on his podcast, which I think it should be in my YouTube somewhere. But it was a wonderful podcast, and I definitely would tell you to go check that out. It's a great video. I enjoyed being a part of it. It was just wonderful. Now, let me see here. Oh, yes, Massachusetts Miss Amazing.
Where's the chat?
Oh, I can't fix my chat. Right here.
Where?
Right there. Hello, is there people? Ooh, what is my favorite event at the Hartford Nationals? um, that would be a really hard choice. To be honest, I think the 100 meter, mainly because I'm able to just go super fast and, everything there is a sudden turn of events. You're just going from one thing to the next. You never know who's going to win the 100 meter due to the fact that it can change so quickly. There's such a period of time that you're going. It is a short amount, but it's such a fast period of time. I think the fastest I've seen a wheelchair racer go has to be, I don't know, 10 seconds. And that's, if you think about it, 10 seconds is super short. So just like imagine, you know? Um, and definitely, as I was saying, Massachusetts Miss Amazing is wonderful. I was, I won that in 2022. And then I was the National Miss Amazing in 2023, which was an honor. And I enjoyed that very much. I think I actually got to go to Nashville because of that. That was wonderful. It was a great and wonderful opportunity, and I got to do advocacy along with it, which is something I always love to do. Fun fact about me is I want to study disability studies along with civil rights, so I can be not a lawyer, but a disability advocate because I really love that path, and I think that it would be amazing. um, yeah, and I am on social media, and I usually put my labels under like adaptive athlete, para athlete, and youth athlete. So basically, anything among that, if you're looking for anything like that, you can definitely follow me, and I will get you into that algorithm that if you'd like to be on that. I'm trying to grow awareness and support for the disability community because, to be honest, I think anyone can do sports. So the fact that there's people out there who don't even know that adaptive sports exist, I want to raise that awareness and show the world that basically it does exist. And I'm always ready to show the world what I'm made of. And yeah, my cat's being an unpaid actor right now. But basically, I basically want to share stories and tell the world what there is out there for adaptive athletes because not a lot of people know what there is, to be honest. It's a very blank world, a very blank canvas around disabled sports. And I think that when you go into it, there's not much out there. You need to find information on it. And I think that if we made it easier to get information, it would just be amazing. Is training hard mentally or physically? Great question. Yes, both actually. Physically is very draining for me, and I think that I think physically is one of the biggest factors, but I think mentally is even more. Because imagine pushing your chair and actually no, because you guys most people who will see this will be able-bodied, I'm thinking, but let's say you're walking, right, or running. Let's say your calves are burning. Imagine that in your upper body, but you'll also have to imagine the fact that I use my upper body all day. So it's double the pain. So like after I race like a 10 miles, I'm going to have pain for the rest of the day. So I always have to strategically plan when I train for things like that. And that pain, of course, it's good because I'm gaining something from it, but it always gets to me. Mentally, I'd say yes, it is challenging, but it helps me grow more as a person. I'd say mentally, it's a challenge. I look forward to the challenge, and sometimes there's times where I'm like, oh, I don't like this. Hey, I want to quit. But I always have my family there supporting me, and I think that has always really helped me. And just I overcome that with my family's support, and just generally, I think mentally, it's it's kind of like a cycle. I get into it, I love it, and then it's just a cycle. I just keep going. And that's the greatest part about racing. I never have actually truly disliked it. Oh my goodness, what is my favorite time of the day to train? I'd say in the nights because I come home from school. I do theater after school. I'm a theater kid. I come home from school very stressed out from the day, and just being able to put everything out onto my chair, just push myself to keep going. I'd say that's my favorite time of day is in the afternoon because I can just push and get all my energy out. Yeah, it's wonderful. And yeah, definitely helps get all my stresses out. All of them. So yeah. And let's see here. If there's any more questions, do not hesitate to ask. I'm willing to answer any of them. All right. Ooh, some fun facts about me because I think that it's really fun to share some fun facts is I play guitar in my spare time. I love playing guitar. My favorite song to play on guitar is Take On Me by Aha. That is one of my favorite songs ever. Another fun fact about me is I am a theater kid. I have had multiple roles in the past, including in Moana Jr., I was Chief Ancestor 3, and then in SpongeBob the Musical, I was Perch Perkins, who was a rainbow fish, aka a news reporter, which was quite the fun thing. Breaking news! That was wonderful. And then in Legally Blonde, I was Enid Hoops, and she was a feminist protester type character who fought for feminist rights, which very much down my alley, and I'm very happy about that. And then the current show I'm in, I am playing the Marymount captain for the Marymount math leads in Mean Girls. And I am also playing the bus that runs over Regina George. So that is wonderful. I cannot wait. What was my hardest race emotionally? I'm gonna have to say Falmouth. I mean, yes, I loved Falmouth. It was just, other than like the physical up and down hills, there's emotional up and down hills too. I'd say seeing all the people cheering for me was always an uphill, like in a good way, not a bad way. It felt great. The issue is the challenge. You're with people who are the best of the best in what I do. And I think that it's wonderful. It's great to meet the people I look up to, my idols. It was just very hard to race against them, both emotionally, but also physically as well. I think emotionally, it was more of just the fact that, oh, this is 50 years of tradition, 50 years of something that I didn't know about. And yeah, it was just a very, oh, hello, there's somebody new in the chat. Hello. But yeah, I think basically the hardest race would be Falmouth was because of the fact that 50 years, of tradition, and I didn't want to let anyone down, and that because of that, and I think that was the hardest race emotionally. Though I did like seeing the inflatable sharks. That was definitely a plus. The inflatable goofy sharks were a plus. I'd definitely say. Yeah. If you guys have any questions, don't be afraid to ask them in the chat. Love to be here. If I could give 5-year-old Mary any advice, what would it be? All right, so if I could give myself advice when I was 5, that's a really hard question. Because when I was 5, I never dreamed that I would have gotten this far. Like my brain, little 5-year-old me's brain would just go poof. I think just continue being who you are because even though the world is going to say, oh, they're going to be rude to you, just ignore that because you have a future ahead of you and you're going to find the right people who accept you. You're going to enjoy the things you do. So don't give up on being you and just, the world is your oyster. To be honest, there's so much you can do. Just take it, and just be ready because life's going to throw everything at you, but you got that. Yeah. So let's see. Any more questions that anyone has? But yeah, I'm very happy to be live. This is my first time live. I'm trying to get more lives more often. Did you think you were at the Boston Marathon as a patient partner that you would be racing in the BAA 5K? Oh, no, I did not think that when I was at the Boston Marathon as a patient partner, I would be racing in that. No, I never thought I'd be racing in the BAA 5K this many years. Maggie Lou Racing asked me if I'm excited for Vegas. Yes, I am very excited for Vegas. I have 13 days. I almost said years. 13 days until that race, which is amazing. And I think, it's going to be 13 days and 13 miles. So I think this is a great time to start off the stream because I think that the 13 and the 13, the fact that they line up, I think that's amazing. I think I'm more excited for the fact that it's my first half marathon. Ooh, Elena Glass 9096 asked, "How are you training for Vegas?" Well, I'm training for Vegas by doing miles with Glassa and with New York Parasport every few days. And also, I think I did 10 miles last Friday, which was very exciting. It was quite tiring, but it was an amazing experience because you don't get a break while actually pushing these long distances. You have to just continue to go. So it's definitely difficult, but the training is worth it. I've been just pushing and pushing. I think I push almost more than like 3 times a week now, which I never have done before. And there's a lot of physical changes definitely from that. I'm gaining a lot of muscle mass and I'm becoming a lot stronger. So, very happy about that. Any more questions? But yeah, I'm very happy for Las Vegas. It's something I'm looking forward to. It's one of the biggest races of my life, I think. And it's just so exciting. It's to be able to travel for a race is always exciting because as a wheelchair racer, I never thought I'd get this far. So, I do have a website that I definitely think everyone should check out. It is marynolimits.com. Ooh, Elena Glass asked an amazing question. How do you travel with your push-room chair? That is a lot. It is traveling with my push-room chair is difficult. But what we do is we take off my disc wheels. Disc wheels are these solid wheels that have no spokes on them, so they can't really break that easily. We deflate them. We put them in a bag that has it's a black bag. It's called a bag case. A bag case. I mean, a wheel case. And we put that through the checking, and then we take my racing chair. We have to bring it through security, but we check it at the gate for safety. But we also put poo noodles on it. But you have to put the poo. Yes, poo noodles. I know. It's crazy. A lot of people don't understand, but poo noodles on what is it called? The what? It's the part that I steer with. It's called the compensator. And basically, I put poo noodles on that to secure it just to make sure it's less fragile. What is my weakness that I haven't shared with anybody before? Oh, goodness. I don't think I have one in racing. I mean, to be honest, I think. Oh, hills. Yeah, I forgot hills. I dislike hills so much. Of course, I do hill training, but they still take a lot out of me. And I think that's my biggest weakness is the hills. What? What did? Yeah, but my biggest weakness is the hills or getting distracted easily. That's definitely one of them. At Falmouth, I kept getting distracted by these inflatable sharks because I thought they were super cool and I really like sharks. And I got really excited. So yeah, that's my one weakness. I think is just trying to take in all the scenery while racing and hills. That's the one you understand. Yeah, that's the one thing that's really difficult is those hills, especially when I was at Falmouth. I think I've never experienced hills like that before, and I think I'm gonna have to deal with that again. But I'm totally ready for it this time. So, But as I was saying about the push-room chair, I cover the compensator with pool noodles, and I also cover it with a box to protect it, and we just check it right through, and it gets there, hopefully intact. Oh, yes, and I also forgot about one more of my weaknesses. Sorry, I'm bouncing all over the place today with topics because it is quite late for me. But the fact that I have to always be nice to my competitors. I try to be a very nice person, and trying to be friends with everyone while racing is very difficult because I don't want to be rude to people and I like talking to people. I'm a very social butterfly. So even with my friends, like my friend Maddie and my friend Amos, it's like I can't be rude to them. They're my teammates, I can't try to beat them, I feel like, because they're the best people I know. Everyone I know is great to me, so I never want to beat them because I feel so bad. That's my biggest weakness, I'd say. Any more questions? All right, I think I'm gonna wrap up stream today. Thank you for watching. It has been 30 minutes of the stream, which I'm very proud of for my first stream. I think this is great. Getting out there, at least getting my message out there, will definitely help. Hoping everyone has a nice day. Anyways, that's it for now. Mary, over and out. Bye.